Okay, I think we're pretty much ready to get started. So firstly, welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in. We do these updates for you. So if you have any questions about team development, where the product is going, what we're working on, any questions about roadmap, or anything at all, this is the time for you to ask us these questions directly. Obviously, we're in the Discord, fairly frequently. So if you don't get a chance to ask them now, it's not like you have to wait an entire month to do so. But here you kind of get a live back and forth from the team directly. So in terms of that, let's kind of get started. So I'll kind of give the general updates about the team, and then different team members are going to be talking about various things that the company has been focusing on, and in various launches and updates that are going to be coming up. So for me, I am very excited to give our first update on Evan, who is our new hire. He just joined the company roughly 2 weeks ago, and we couldn't be more excited to have him on board. Evan comes from a very heavy crypto background, and so it's really awesome to get his expertise. And he's actually on the call here, so I will give him the opportunity to introduce himself directly to you. So Evan, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, I'll be super quick. Hi everyone, thanks for having me. My name's Evan Richard. I live in Boston, Massachusetts. I've been working in the cryptocurrency space for about 5 years, and I'm especially obsessed with building layer one protocols. You might have seen my work for some proof of stake networks like Algorand or Avalanche, or once in a while you'll see me uh, post, arguing with people on Twitter about this or that. But really, what I love the most is privacy preserving technologies. So I'm really excited and even honored to be able to join the Ironfish team. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. But yeah, once again, it's really awesome to have Evan on board because he's had experiences working on other layer one chains directly, and also having gone through launches or near launches of layer one chains. And it's also encouraging to kind of have him give us advice on the mistakes or directions that we're taking, given his expertise. So thank you so much, Evan, for joining. Another fun fact: Evan did call us sweetie pies. and we're all very flattered. All right, next up is we are going to be doing more announcements about the trusted setup for Ironfish. So as you might know, Ironfish achieves its privacy through something called zero-knowledge proofs. Zero-knowledge proofs are a niche type of cryptography that lets you prove something about hidden data. So the way we use zero-knowledge proofs for Ironfish is every Ironfish transaction is fully encrypted. And with that transaction, we also have a zero-knowledge proof that validates that transaction. So for transparent chains like Bitcoin, for instance, you don't need that zero-knowledge proof because everything's out in the open, so anyone can see the exact history of your wallet, and therefore they can validate the transaction on their own. Now, in Ironfish, everything's encrypted, and so the validation happens through zero-knowledge proofs. There are many different types of zero-knowledge proofs out there. Some of you might be familiar with some of the distinctions. So obviously there's ZK snarks or snarks. Snarks are succinct, non-interactive arguments of knowledge. And within the family of snarks, there's actually different types of proving systems within that family as well. And when we kind of look at different types of zero-knowledge proofs, we grade them on different metrics of success, such as proving time, how long it takes to actually make the proof, validation time, how quickly it takes for a miner or validator to validate the proof, and proof size, meaning how small it is on the blockchain. So with all those considerations in mind, Ironfish uses something called Groth16, which is a type of zero-knowledge proof, and Groth16 requires what's called a trusted setup. So what is a trusted setup? So a trusted setup is basically when we launch Ironfish, we need a set of proving keys that will be used to validate those transactions. The reason why it's called a trusted setup is because you actually want to make sure that the private keys that were used to make the trusted setup are actually thrown away. Now, how do we do that without the word trusted? Because obviously in crypto, trust but verify is a pretty strong motto. So we're going to be doing something called a multi-party computation to create the trusted setup, meaning that if even one participant in this computation is honest, meaning that they do throw away the randomness, then the entire system is honest. And so usually the way projects do this, which is very common, is they have this multi-party computation open to their community and to the public and to keep people in the space, such that if at least one person is honest, then it gives confidence to everyone else that the entire system is honest. And if someone is a skeptic but is a believer in the project, then they can actually participate in the trusted setup themselves to make sure that the system is honest. So I will hand it off to Daniel, who is going to talk about the trusted setup phase next. Daniel, do you want to take it away?
Yeah, thanks, Elena. So yeah, we will be conducting our trusted setup sometime in February. We don't have a defined start date yet, but it should be around a 3-week contribution period. So that means we'll give 3 weeks for anyone who wants to participate and contribute to run their contribution. The way it will probably work is we'll probably run, it's similar to running a node. You'll run some software on your computer and you'll wait in line until it's your turn to give your contribution. And then it should automatically download the file that is needed for the contribution and make the contribution. So it will be very similar to running a node, hopefully. And so anyone who's done that, it shouldn't be too difficult. We've created a channel, a Discord channel for Trusted Setup. I'll paste a link to that in the monthly Pulse chat. But we'll be providing some more information on that when it's available. So I just pasted a link there. And if anyone has questions, feel free to ask them in that channel. I'd be happy to answer anything. All right, I think now I'll hand it off to Jason to talk about phase 3.
Thanks, Daniel. So we have 5 days until the launch of phase 3. And a lot of people have been asking a lot of questions about what is multi-asset, how do I use it? So I'm going to take this section to go into a lot of that. So if you have been looking at the website, you'll notice that a bunch of the sections are actually filled out now about the incentivization model. So the first thing I want to do is point you to the website if you want some information about that. And I'm going to be repeating a lot of the information from this, so you can kind of follow along there if you'd like. And most importantly, a lot of people have been asking not just how do I use multi-asset, but why multi-asset? And our really great marketing people and blog writers and a lot of people have contributed to an article to help you kind of understand, like, why is multi-asset an important part of the Ironfish ecosystem and platform? And I really, really encourage you all to go to our blog article and read it, which is live right now as of the Discord update. Take a look at that and read through it. This doesn't explain how to use multi-asset. It's more about why is it an important part of the Ironfish crypto strategy. So we're not going to talk about the blog article, but I do implore you to read it. Thanks to everyone who's contributed to it. We're going to get another blog article up pretty soon about actually how to use multi-asset in phase 3. So let's just go into some of those details kind of before that's there. So I think one thing before we get into that is that a lot of people have been asking, can I mine in phase 3? And the answer is you can mine, but it's not incentivized. We are not going to reward people for mining in phase 3. And a lot of people have asked, why is that? So just a little history. Phase 1 and 2 both incentivized mining in an important way to test the network. Phase 1 was preliminary testing that our mining and our blockchain worked. Phase 2 was primarily testing transaction throughput. And so we wanted people to mine to get iron to make deposits that created transaction throughput. So now that we've tested that, we need to test multi-asset. And multi-asset is a functional feature which is creating essentially ERC20 style assets, minting and burning them. So we're primarily incentivizing asset creation and like managing your own assets. So we don't need to incentivize mining. It's not that helpful right now. And as you know, people who have kind of paid attention to our Discord know, we also have kind of said around March, obviously it's on our roadmap that around that time we're looking to do a launch. We don't have that much more time before Mainnet launch. So we need to push everyone to test this feature. Likewise, we're also going to turn the faucet back on to help you pay for multi-asset operations and transactions. So you might ask when we get into the details like, hey, if I need to create transactions to use multi-asset, then how do I pay for those transactions if you're not incentivizing mining? You can still mine, but it's unnecessary. You can just use the faucet to request currency to just pay for the fees. You technically don't have to put a fee at all. It's not actually relevant. And to get into the specifics of the incentivization model, again, if you're looking at the website, there's going to be 3 actions: mint, burn, and send. I'm going to let Rohan talk about each one of these specifically, what they do. But remember, we're also incentivizing hosting a node still. So even if you don't perform these actions, which you should, you can still have your node online, and that will give you points as well. We're also still rewarding people for finding bugs as well. So I'm going to pass it over to Rohan to kind of discuss the 3 of these actions and kind of what they do and how they work.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Jason. So yeah, as Jason mentioned, we're adding a couple new categories for phase 3 incentivization, primarily focused around our multi-asset actions. So if you've used Ethereum or played around with Ethereum, you might have seen coins like USDC or Tether, and these are all various tokens which exist by existing smart contracts on Ethereum. But what we've done is we've updated our network to support custom tokens built right into our protocol. So we really want our users to go ahead and test this. So the first action that we'd like to incentivize is minting of assets. So minting is going to be the process of creating a brand new token directly on the Ironfish network. So every token is going to have its own asset type, and each asset is going to have a corresponding owner. And if you're the owner, you can continue to mint and increase the supply. So the way you'll actually get points by minting the assets is by running a command, which is through the wallet, and you will set the asset name to be your graffiti. And we'll be listening for these transactions. And if we see an asset has been created with your graffiti, you'll receive points. Likewise, you can also burn assets, and that's basically the opposite of minting. So instead of increasing supply, this is going to destroy or decrease the supply of tokens that have previously been created. And if you hold any asset, you can technically burn it. So those are 2 out of the 3 actions. The final action is going to be actually transferring the custom created assets. So in the previous phase, you could deposit and transfer iron to our bank. And by transferring that, we gave you points. This time, what we want is for you to transfer the custom created assets or the ones that you minted with your asset name. And one other thing to note is that we'll have a weekly limit. So minting, burning, and transferring all of these custom assets will be done or have a cap of once a week. So all you'll really need to do is try to log on once per week, do a mint, do a burn, and transfer your asset to the bank. And then each of these actions will correspond to 200 points each. So you can get 600 points per week for logging on and doing each of these 3 actions once a week. Great. So I think the last important point that we want to mention about this phase, which wasn't really true of our previous phases, is that the playing field is kind of like more equal. It's very egalitarian. So we saw a lot of complaints in previous phases that people who didn't have strong computers were kind of suffering through mining power. And so this phase is really going to kind of level the playing field. Non-miners are going to have an equal chance. So we're going to try to focus on people hosting nodes and doing all the multi-asset actions. Okay, I think that will wrap up, I guess, what I want to talk about for phase 3. I'm going to hand it over to Meg, who will talk about some white paper updates.
Hi. And we talked a little bit about the white paper last month, and just want to share a couple more updates there. We're adding kind of further technical detail around these multi-asset actions and the underpinnings of it all, and are working hard to get that out very soon so that everyone can check it out and learn more. And I don't want to give an exact date yet because we're waiting on a few fixes, but we will be putting that out on our blog, on all our socials, and posting in Discord when the new white paper is live. So definitely keep an eye out, and always go into the outreach channel if there's something in particular you're wondering about. I can't promise that we'll get content out about it instantly, but it's really helpful for us to know the questions the community has and the things that you're most interested in. And that's my quick update. So I think that goes to Joe now, talk about deposits.
Hey everybody. So as I'm sure some of you are aware, there was a minor issue for deposits in phase 2 where certain users deposited to an address that was not using the deposit command. We've received your form inputs. We are working to credit the users for deposits that were made to that address. Thank you for submitting your outgoing view keys. We soon should be posting an update for you guys once your points have been updated. Thanks for your patience. I'll pass it to Lawrence.
Thanks, Joe. I'm here to talk quickly about, so we're about to launch phase 3, which is really exciting. And that leads to the obvious question, when mainnet? And the answer is soon. And so phase 3 will be our last phase of the testnet. We're really excited to come together and on a date for mainnet launch. It's going to be soon. We actually want to see phase 3 out in the wild and see some of our new features fully functioning before we set an exact date. But it will be announced shortly, and that will be coming ideally this quarter. So that's something we're very excited about. Also, we are going to be updating the roadmap on the website. So right now we've been very tunnel vision towards phase 3. Let's get it launched. And there are a few projects that are going to pop up on the roadmap that are focused on that gap between phase 3 and mainnet. So if you are one who watches our public roadmap, and you should, because we put everything we're doing onto that roadmap, then you'll see website updates soon. And finally, and I know this will be a lot of people on this call and on Discord have participated in the testnet and gained points for the various testnet phases. And so part of this process that we will be announcing soon is the process for converting testnet points into tokens on Ironfish mainnet. So that is obviously, I can imagine people are very excited about that. We're excited to do it, and that will be coming soon as well. So all of these things, we have a big launch in next week on the 18th, and then after that we're going to be focused on mainnet, and it will be a relatively short testnet compared to the other ones that we have done. So very excited about that. And finally, I would like to hand it over to Adi, who's going to talk about the winner of the video contest.
First off, thank you everyone. I think we've received about 200 submissions for the video contest, and they're all incredible. Everyone sharing in their own language, in their own perspective on why Ironfish and why privacy for transactions matter. So we, as we had mentioned, chose the winners randomly. It wasn't metric based or anything. So I have just posted on general channel the 3 people who won. I don't know how to pronounce this. Dimalna, Enrico, and Dasha Fish. These are the 3 folks who've been randomly selected to win in this contest. And yeah, as mentioned, you will be rewarded with an NFT. So I will email you and then kindly share your address so that we can process the same. And yeah, do stay tuned with us. Do follow us on Twitter, connect with us. Um, and yeah, thank you once again for posting, because we've seen a bunch of videos tagged on Twitter. That has helped spread the word out. So thank you so much for your participation, and stay tuned to announcement channel, because hopefully we'll have much more for you in the near future.
All right, and I think that concludes all of our announcements. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. This is an auspicious day, Friday the 13th. Does not happen very often, so hopefully you get to celebrate this day somehow. And again, thank you for tuning in. Phase 3 is going to start January 18th. So stay tuned for that. Yeah, we'll have the channel open for questions for a little bit longer. So please, if you have any questions, feel free to still answer to ask them. We are going to upload the recording to YouTube. We noticed that some people kind of came in late. And we are always in Discord, so if you have questions, you can ask them in the general channel, in the questions channel. If you have more technical questions, you can ask them in the appropriate channels there as well. And I think with that, I think we should conclude. So again, happy Friday, everyone. Please celebrate Friday the 13th. It's again pretty rare occurrence. And that's it. I think that is a good note to end on. Thank you all so much, and have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.